All right, in this video, I'll show you how to lip sync your South Park character to some audio. So here's where we left off last time. We have a background and we use the wiggler and keyframes to make our character walk onto the background. Now what we want to add is we want to add some audio and make him lip sync. So to do that, the very first thing you need to do is decide when you want your character to start talking. My character takes about 2.5 seconds to walk onto the screen. So I've decided he's going to start talking at 3 seconds. So the very first thing I'm going to do is double click on my character composition and I'm going to bring in my audio, and this audio says my name's Nate, and I'm going to drag it in here and I'm going to position it right at 3 seconds. So right in here is exactly where I want that to be. So for the first 3 seconds of this composition, we're not going to change anything because that's when he's walking on the screen. And at the 3-second mark, that's when he's going to start talking. The next thing I need to do is I need to actually, I want to delete that quick, is we want to import our mouths. So I'm going to double click over here and bring in our mouths. I'm going to click import like this and make sure that it is a layer, it's a composition. So we click OK. Now the mouths that you're bringing in are probably ones that I've made or that I'm giving you. And I call this the mouth-a-bet. There are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mouths. And there's mouths for each sound your character makes when he talks. So the first sound is an ah sound. There's an E, an I, an O, sound, a hard F, an M, a P, or a B, an L sound, and an S sound. And then this S sound can be used for any sound that aren't covered by these. We also have like kind of like a little bit of a frown right here for 9 and kind of a smile for 10. These are going to be the frames that these mouths are going to be on. So we'll go back to our After Effects, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the mouth placer. And we're going to drag our mouths in right there. And you can see if you zoom in here, like all the mouths are stacked up on top of each other. Before we do anything else, let's parent the mouse to the face so that they move with them. And what we want to do here is we want to go to our mouse composition. And no matter how long our mouse composition is, what we want to do is we want to press Shift and highlight all these mouths. And we want to drag this as far to the left as we can. We want to make each one the smallest amount of time possible. Now, mine's already taken care of, but you might need to change the composition settings of this. If we have 11 mouths, you need to have 11 frames. So more than likely when you imported this, it might have been at like something like 10 seconds like this. You would actually need to erase this, change the seconds to 0, and change the frames to 11. Then when you do that, again, make all the mouth the smallest amount of time as possible. So I'm just going to drag it from the end over here. And we need each one of these mouths to take up 1 frame. So the best way to describe this is to build like a step, like this. And so I'm taking each one, and they can't get any smaller than this. So that's how I know they're 1 frame. And I'm going to drag them out here like this so that each one is by itself on its own frame. And so you can kind of check how this works by going to the beginning. And if you, let's zoom up a little bit. This is the ah mouth. If you page down, this is the E mouth. If I page down, this will be the I mouth. If I page down here, this will be the O mouth. And then the UH or the mouth. Here's the hard F. Here's the M, the P, or the B mouth. Here's the L. Here's the S sound. Here's a resting mouth. That's what I call the little frown. And here's the smile. And so what we need to tell After Effects to do is when to use these mouths. So now we're going to close this out. And we're going to go to our character. And if you go all the way to the beginning and you press page down, you'll see that it scrolls through all the mouths all at once. And then he doesn't have a mouth. So that's no good. So what we need to do is right-click on the mouse and hit time, and we're going to call time remapping, which means we can go through and tell After Effects which mouth we want when. So when we did that, 2 keyframes got made right here on the mouse layer. We're going to highlight and delete the second one. And we're going to right-click on the first one and choose Toggle Hold Keyframe, which means that mouth will stay there until we tell it otherwise. So now it's time to kind of go through and choose which mouse you're going to use. So let me turn up my volume just a little bit so I can hear what's going on. And here's what we're going to do. When my character walks on the screen, he walks on the screen between 0 and 3 seconds. I want him to be smiling on that. So I check my alphabet sheet, and that's 10. So I'm going to come in here and type 10. And now he is smiling until I tell him to change. And I need to make this longer. If your mouse layer does not look long like that, you need to do that. You need to drag that out. Now, when he starts talking right here. I need to actually hear what the sound sounds like. So I'm going to hold down Control on my keyboard. And as I drag through, I get a preview. Okay, and that was terrible. That's not, so let's press spacebar so you can hear it.
Hey, my name's Nate. Let me tell you some jokes.
So what I'm going to do is zoom in a little bit. And right about here, I'm going to hold down Control. And I'm going to look for the first sound. Right here. And it's a hey sound. Now, hey kind of sounds like the A sound. So I go to the alphabet, and that's going to be 0. So in here, I'm going to type 0. And now the mouth changes to that 0 until I change it again. So I'm going to keep scrolling through with the Control button. So like right here, I feel like, you know, his hey kind of trails off. So I'm going to actually change the sound to 8, or the sound, or the smile to 8, because I'm using this S, which is for any sound that I don't have one for. So I'm going to keep going through here. Right here, we get kind of an M sound, so I look at my alphabet, and that's a 6. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to choose 6. So we got the M sound. And after the my sound, we get the I sound, so that's a 2. So I'm going to come in here and type 2. Right in here, we got like an N sound. And if you look at your chart, there isn't an N sound, so I'm going to use that 8 mouth again. My name. So right in here, in the middle of name, there's an A sound. And so I'm on my chart, that's a 0, so I'm going to change that to a 0. And then right here, there's that M sound. So I'm going to change that to 6. And then he's going to say is. So I'm going to use the S sound. I'm not going to worry about the I sound for that. I'm just going to use the S sound. My name is. Right here, it's got that N sound, which there isn't a sound for, so it's going to be the 8 still. And then here, for Nate, I'm going to use the A sound, so that's a 0. My name is Nate. And right here, like the end of his Nate doesn't really make a sound, so I'm going to go back to 8. My name is Nate. Right here, he's starting to say let me, so that's an L sound, so L is 7. Let me tell you. So right here, I think we're getting the let me tell you some jokes, so that's the me part. So I'm going to go with 6 for the M. Let me. And the E sound from me is a 1. So right here, we are starting to say tell, so I'm going to say 8 because I don't have a T sound. Let me tell. Right here is where some is starting, and I'm just holding down Control and scrolling. Let me tell you some. Oh, the M sound, so we're going to go 6 here. Let me tell you some. Right here, we're getting the J sound, which there isn't one for, so we're going to go back to 8. And then here, we're getting the O sound from jokes, so that's 3. And then we end with an S. So that's an 8. And now I've basically lip-synced this audio here. And when I press Control and keep going, he's done talking right now, so I'm going to actually make him smile here, and I'm going to say 10. And so now here's what we've done. We've gone through and we've lip synced this audio, and when we press spacebar, we'll get the mouth moving along with the audio.
Hey, my name's Nate. Let me tell you some jokes.
And that's actually not terrible. Now, if I want to go in there and change some of it, I could. But for the sake of this video, that's pretty good. The one last thing we need to do here is we need to stay true to our South Park style. And so when South Park characters talk, their head bobbles a little bit. And so make sure that mouth is parented to face. And we're going to use the wiggler. So if you don't have it open, you can go to Window and choose Wiggler. And then we're going to make the face kind of bobble the whole time they're talking. So in the face transform, I'm going to set a keyframe. I'm going to stopwatch position right here. And then I'm going to drag to where he's done talking, maybe right here, and set another keyframe by pressing the diamond. And between those, I'm going to use the wiggler. So I'm going to hold down Shift. And I want them to basically be kind of jagged. I want it to bobble in all directions. I think 3 and 6 are going to be okay. So I'm going to hit Apply. And I'm going to come through here and press Spacebar and watch how his head jiggles.
Hey, my name's Nate. Let me tell you some jokes.
Which isn't bad. And if I didn't like it, I could delete these and do another wiggler. But I'm okay with that. So I'm going to go to my background composition. And I'm going to press Home on my keyboard. So we go back to the beginning. I'm going to zoom out. And so now what I can do is I can press Spacebar and watch my whole animation.
Hey, my name's Nate. Let me tell you some jokes.
And so right there, that's basically all the work that I've done. Now, there's a couple other things that we should talk about quick, and then we'll wrap this video up. One is if you go back to the character, if he's going to talk again, you just drop in another piece of audio somewhere else. So now out here, I have some more audio that Nate could tell a joke.
I had to quit my job at the helium gas factory. I will not be spoken to in that tone.
And if I need to move that over, I can move that over here. But on the mouse time remap is where I would sync that up. If you are having two characters talk to each other, this is where you need to be a little bit careful. What you would do is you're going to bring in the audio into one character and pay attention to exactly where it starts. So let's say it starts at 3. And if I was going to have him talk to another character, but all that audio is on the same track, I'm going to put that audio in the other character and use the mouse on that and then delete it out after I'm done, because we don't want two audio clips playing. We just want one playing. So if you have two characters talking to each other, let me know and I'll help you with that. But basically, you're just going to bring in the audio, time remap the mouse for that character, and then delete it out of one of the characters so we don't have it twice. So those are a couple things that you need to keep in mind when you're working with lip syncing and animating in After Effects.